This is the Rebel Call channel. Welcome to today's show. Should it surprise anyone that Johnny Depp is getting set to star in the role that he was born to star in? Of course, that's of Satan. And we could look at Johnny Depp's roles over the years, and most of them have some type of connection to Satan. A lot of them do, at least. But we also could look at Johnny Depp off screen and see his connection to his god, Satan, because he's always showing us the signs and symbols and the connection. And if you take note of this new movie called Carnival at the End of Days, you'll notice that the director goes by the name of Terry Gilliam. And I'll cover Terry Gilliam after I cover Johnny Depp. For people out there that don't know, Johnny Depp is one of the most in-our-faces Satanists out in the open. He's always flashing the signs and symbols. It's very easy to see, and it's very scary also to see just how obsessed the majority of our society is with Johnny Depp. They love Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp can do no wrong. In fact, even conservatives and Christians seem to love Johnny Depp, I guess because they love some of his films like Pirates of the Caribbean, and they can't get past the idol worship of these movies to actually realize that these people are devil worshippers. Now, I've covered Johnny Depp and his connection to Marilyn Manson. Most of you probably know that they're the closest of friends. Even, in fact, Marilyn Manson talked about some of the rituals that were done with Johnny Depp and Hunter S. Thompson, who I'll get into as well, at the Chateau Marmont in Hollywood, because that's where a lot of these rituals happen, and on a specific floor where there's soundproof rooms. But most people out there think that celebrities are just having a good time at the hotel when they talk about, partying all night and getting crazy. They just think that they're punching the walls, I guess, and doing all sorts of stuff that we can't comprehend. And that's true. We can't comprehend it, but you could just watch Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas if you want to know what Johnny Depp is up to when he's staying at Hotel Marmont, or probably what Johnny Depp is up to every single day in his normal life. So, here's Johnny Depp just doing the 666 over his eye. For anyone out there that's not familiar, the same occult symbols, all these people obsessed with their eyeballs, always doing the one eye symbolism. This is the all-seeing eye of Lucifer, which you can see on the back of the dollar bill. He does it pretty much anytime he has a photo shoot. Just like anytime any of these celebrities have a photo shoot, they just conveniently always have a thumb or a hand or a finger over one of their eyes. And this is biblical, of course. In Zechariah chapter 11, verse 17, "Woe to the worthless shepherd who leaves the flock. A sword will be on his arm and on his right eye. His arm will be totally withered, and his right eye will be blind." This is why we always see the one eye symbolism. You can see Johnny Depp doing his Freemasonic symbolism as well. The hand over the heart. Most of you think of this, and what do you think? He's doing the Pledge of Allegiance? I mean, most of these Hollywood actors have pretty much said that they hate America, right? Johnny Depp, one of these guys who talked about Trump, talked about leaving America. So he's not doing the Pledge of Allegiance out in the open. He's doing his Pledge of Allegiance to Freemasonry, to the secret society that he's a member of. And he's definitely gone above Freemasonry, because once they get to a certain level, 33rd degree Freemason, then they go into different secret societies. And he's definitely well above that. We know that for a fact based on how famous Johnny Depp is, how much wealth he's assumed, and how Johnny Depp is pretty much untouchable in the public eye. So here he is doing the hand over the heart. We've seen Johnny Depp even doing the other common Masonic pose, the finger over the lip, where they go, shh, right? Sometimes they'll do it with just a finger on the lip. Sometimes they'll do it with a hand on the lip. This, of course, is referencing the Freemasonic vow of secrecy, the oath of silence that they take. He even does it in Pirates of the Caribbean, right on the cover. One of the, it's pretty incredible. What is the pirate? Did the pirate just break wind and he doesn't want anyone to know? And what is the big secret here? Well, the secret is that all of these celebrities are members of secret societies. The illusion that they're just better than you are, they're more talented than anybody else, that's an illusion. These are trained operatives, government operatives. They go through secret societies like Freemasonry. They're trained in MK Ultra and mind control programming. Okay, that's what acting essentially is. They're programming you. They're programming you into not just idol worship, but they're programming you with social engineering, because most people follow what these celebrities tell them to follow. So Johnny Depp showing you the vow of secrecy, the oath of silence that they all take. We've seen Johnny Depp even pose in photographs with famed photographer Terry Richardson. Most of you probably don't know Terry. You're like, Terry Richardson, famed photographer. Well, he's famous in occult circles because, a lot of those pictures when people get busted and caught with photographs, and you say, who's photographing these things that are going on behind closed doors with youngsters? Well, Terry Richardson is. He's the photographer of the stars. That's why you could find almost every celebrity in some creepy photograph with Terry Richardson, from Jared Leto to Johnny Depp to Miley Cyrus. They all pose with Terry because Terry's their guy. Terry's the one who helps get them access to these youngsters whenever they need to. So Terry is known in occult circles as one of the photographers of the stars. I guess, this whole illusion that we have of photography when it comes to celebrities, these photographs that they take, when I talk about them doing these magazine covers with one hand over their eye, right? Well, if you or me were taking the photograph, say you went to school to be a photographer, right? And you're like, I'm a photographer, great. I got hired by this place, and they're going to let me do a photo shoot for GQ with Johnny Depp. Well, that's never going to happen in a trillion years because all the people who do the photography are all people like Terry Richardson. So who do you think is telling them to put their hand over their eye and to do the shh on their mouth? Because you probably wouldn't ask Johnny Depp to do that in a photo shoot. You would just be focused on, is it good lighting? How does he look? How's his makeup, right? Well, Terry is put in those positions for those shoots, but those aren't the real photo shoots that Terry does. Of course, Terry does take those pictures because that's the ruse, right? Oh, Terry's a photographer of the stars, but Terry's really the one who photographs and films all the activities that are done in secret that you'll never find out about. But that's why Terry's one of those guys you can look at and you just know what Terry's involved in. Like I talk about with some of these guys like Bezos, you can just look at Terry Richardson, okay? You get a feeling over you. If you have, at least I know I do. And I say people with the Holy Spirit, we could sense these people, right? If you're out in public and sometimes you feel someone staring at you, don't you stare and see somebody staring? You feel eyes on you and you could just sense a demon around you or someone who's not filled with the Holy Spirit. Well, Terry Richardson's one of these guys, you can just look at a photo of him and you know what he's involved in. It's very, 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 very clear. So another thing with Johnny Depp, before I get into Terry Gilliam, the director of the film that he's about to star in as Satan, is the connection to the West Memphis 3. Now, a lot of people out there think they're awake. I know a lot of people who follow my channels, follow a lot of the crime channels and stuff like that. And they've heard about the West Memphis 3 who were freed. These are three kids, okay? They were convicted of a crime. The crime was they slaughtered other young kids, okay? And they were arrested for it. And in their house, they found all sorts of satanic stuff, the Satanic Bible. But they specifically found a blood oath contract that they had with Aleister Crowley, okay, inside their home. So when they went on trial, of course, they hired HBO to make it seem like these kids were innocent of the crime, that there was no evidence. They were framing them because they wore Metallica shirts and they were gothic. And that was the whole mindset. So people out there who are awake actually fell for the propaganda that HBO produced. But the reality of the matter is Damien Eccles, who you see on the screen, has a connection, a blood connection to Aleister Crowley. And what they did was they wanted to free these kids. So all of these celebrities like Johnny Depp and Eddie Vedder went out of their way to push the propaganda from HBO, along with HBO, to get these kids freed from prison. So they put propaganda out there saying there was no evidence. They were convicted because they wore Metallica shirts. Metallica got involved. All these celebrities cared so much about this specific case that even after these kids were convicted of the crimes, they were let out of prison. Now, you might say, I don't believe that because there's stories circulating about the father's involvement. His DNA was found on a shoelace, things like that. No arrests have ever been made. These are the ones responsible for it, Eccles and his friends. And of course, you might say, well, Eccles is free now. What's he doing? Well, Eccles is promoted on YouTube, performing black magic. He's teaching people out there occult sigils. He's famous now because of the connection to these Hollywood celebrities, right? And of course, he's not censored at all. He could teach kids all about alchemy and black magic, while people like me can't even point out that celebrities are holding their hand up over their eyes because apparently that's hate speech in today's society. So Johnny Depp helped free these children who were clearly guilty, who had a blood oath contract with Aleister Crowley. Instead of pointing out what that meant and why they would even have a contract drawn up in blood with Aleister Crowley and his books, all of his books which talk about black magic and summoning spirits and summoning Satan by performing rituals and doing sacrifice, nobody wanted to point that part out. In the documentary, they just said that's all hogwash. That stuff doesn't really happen. So all the Christians, everybody out there just fell for the propaganda. And now they don't even think about it anymore. Now that the kids are out in the streets, can't imagine the rituals that Eccles and his fellow friends are involved in these days. But of course, Johnny Depp helped with that. And as most of you know, Johnny Depp One of his most infamous roles, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, where he plays Hunter S. Thompson, his buddy. Hunter S. Thompson, of course. Most of you will go, I don't even know who Hunter S. Thompson is. Who's Hunter S. Thompson? Well, Hunter S. Thompson is the character that Johnny Depp plays in Fear and Loathing, right? You know, the guy who is drinking that red liquid. Do you think about what that... I can't say the word, right? But let's just say it gives you a rush of adrenaline. Okay, this red liquid that they're obsessed with. That's what the film really, part of the plot of the film is about. Okay, it's Johnny Depp getting that red liquid. And now a lot of people are aware of that because a lot of things have come out in the open. So Hunter S. Thompson is notorious. Nobody knows what he's famous for. He was on David Letterman. He's famous for being a hunter. Okay, he hunts, youngsters. That's what Hunter S. Thompson did while he was here on Earth. And Johnny Depp couldn't be more obsessed with Hunter S. Thompson, of course, because they were doing it together. And when Hunter S. Thompson passed, Johnny was heartbroken about it. But my point about Fear and Loathing isn't just that red liquid. It's about who directed it. Well, the same guy who's about to direct this latest film, Terry Gilliam. Here's Terry. You can just look at Terry. Like I said, with Terry Richardson, you could see, the eyes are the window of the soul. You can see him here holding up the 666 sign, right? You can see him doing the X, Antichrist, over his chest, the X symbol that all these celebrities do as well. What do you think? He's hugging himself, okay? Now, he's famous, or became famous, like his big breakout thing was Monty Python. And if you don't know, Monty Python was, I don't understand how people find this stuff funny, but to each their own, I suppose. Monty Python has a lot of stuff that they used to put out in Freemasonry, okay? You could look them up for yourself, Monty Python, how to recognize a Mason. They would mock the handshakes. A lot of BBC television, I'm going to do some videos on it, would openly talk about Freemasonry, but they would make fun of it like it's silly, like it's goofy, to give the impression that it was just like adult fraternity, because, back then, people noticed things a little bit more, so they saw Freemasonic lodges and they wondered what they were doing, and they really put the stuff out there about, hey, these guys are just a bunch of guys who graduate college and then they're in a fraternity. They're all silly and goofy. So on the BBC, Monty Python would put stuff out where they would mock the handshakes. They would do the humiliation rituals out in the streets and things like that. And it kind of dismissed the notion of what Freemasonry really is, about worshiping Lucifer. It gave the impression that they're all funny goofballs like Monty Python. Now, in today's world, nobody even knows that these Freemason lodges exist because everybody's looking at their phone. So you drive by them all the time and you don't even notice this stuff because nobody's alert or paying attention to anything that's around them. So Terry Gilliam, also, if you're not familiar, with not just directing that film, he also has a film called The Imaginarium of Dr. Paracelsus, okay, where you could see right on the movie poster for it, you can see the black and white Masonic checkerboard floor. Now, it's worth noting, for anyone out there that's wondering, you might remember an actor by the name of Heath Ledger, okay, played the Joker, and then he mysteriously died. Well, he was in the middle of filming this movie, which was directed by Gilliam, okay? And he was replaced in the movie. You can see the black and white Masonic checkerboard floor, again, on the ground. He was replaced in the movie by Johnny Depp, but there's an infamous photo of him in the film where he has a rope around his neck, a very Masonic photograph of Heath Ledger, who coincidentally left the earth shortly after that. You can connect the dots yourself on that. And inside of that film, of course, not just that cover with the Masonic checkerboard floor, it was filled with Freemasonic symbolism. You could see some of the symbolism here with the third eye, the all-seeing eye. These are all things that you'll find inside a Masonic lodge, and you'll see all the celebrities openly doing it out in the open. But remember, they want you to believe that you become famous by talent and hard work. That's why they tell you all the stories behind the celebrities and how they become famous, and they're all make-believe stories, right? They went to Hollywood. They kept trying. They waited tables. They kept working at it. But they're so talented, they finally broke through. No. These are government operatives. They're all members of secret societies. They've all been planted in these positions, and their job is to influence you, influence your behavior. And that's why we're in the position we're in now as a society. You could thank people like Depp. You could thank people like Gilliam. And for anyone out there wondering the plot of the film, of course, the plot for that film, The Imaginarium of Dr. Paracelsus, or let's just call him Paraanus, the leader of a traveling show has a dark secret. Thousands of years ago, he traded the soul of his daughter to the devil. Now the devil has come to collect his prize. To save her, he must make a final wager. Whoever collects 5 souls first wins Valentina. Tony, Heath Ledger, a man saved from hanging by Paracelsus' troop, agrees to help collect them with his all-seeing eye, on marrying Valentina. And of course, that's the plot. So now we come full circle, right? Johnny Depp's been in Fear and Loathing with this guy. Johnny Depp, what's the connection there? Well, of course, it's always the same connection. Freemasonry and secret societies. These people all worship Satan. This guy seems very obsessed with Satan, right? This guy Gilliam. And of course, he talks about this new movie that he has called Carnival at the End of Days. And he even says in an interview, the film's about God deciding to destroy humanity for effing up his beautiful garden. That's the quote from this man. A film about God deciding to destroy humanity because they messed up his beautiful garden. Well, it's people like this who messed up everything in this world, right? The ones who ate of the forbidden fruit are these people in these secret societies like Depp, etc., right? That's why they openly brag about having the hidden knowledge. That's what they're speaking of. And the knowledge they believe they have is Lucifer is the god of this world, and they're gods among us. So, is it a surprise that Johnny Depp is going to be playing Satan in the upcoming film? No, it's not a surprise, because this is the role that Johnny Depp was clearly born to play. And I'll cover the film if I'm still around when it comes out. I mean, I won't be on this channel, but I'll be somewhere else if anyone's still following me. And I'm sure it'll be filled with more stuff, because when you hear the plot and it has something to do, again, who do they put as the protagonist in all these movies? Satan. Who is the enemy? Who is the villain? The antagonist. It's always now God. Haven't you noticed that theme? TV shows like Lucifer, you hear the show, there's a show called Lucifer. What's it about? What's about Lucifer? He's a detective. And you're like, what? That's really stupid. And they're like, well, Lucifer's helping solve crimes. He's really not a bad guy. And you go, wait, what? Oh, Lucifer's the good guy in the show. Yeah, he's the good guy. He's the victim. Who's the bad guy in the show? Well, of course, God is, because this is the inverted reality that they're creating. And the same with this movie, right? Johnny Depp will be Satan. Everybody will run to see it. They'll be excited to see Johnny Depp. They'll love it. He'll make Satan seem so cool. And of course, who's the bad guy trying to kill humanity? God. But the reality of the matter is, who's really trying to destroy humanity? These people are. And they're getting away with it. And even Gilliam is one of these people talking about artificial intelligence and technology. And they say, oh, what do you think about it? It's going to take jobs away, etc. He said there's no stopping it, right? Because he knows what AI really is. And this guy is just another Satanist out in the open, just like Johnny Depp. So I wanted to cover that for people out there that didn't know. Of course, anytime there's a story like, all right, Johnny Depp's playing Satan, then you just look into who's the director. Then you look into, oh, wow, he's done this, he's done that. A lot of satanic stuff. Yep. Not coincidental, because they're all part of the same secret societies, the same brotherhood, the Brotherhood of Lucifer, also known as the Freemasonic Brotherhood. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you as always, and your families.